Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm starting the session. I'm audible to you. You can just keep your mics in mute position. Whatever you need to say, you just please write it in the chat box. I'll reply. Okay, I have seen yes, I have seen your message. Thank you for confirmation. See, somebody asked me whether it is a regular session or demo session. See, first few days, from the first day itself, we are taking the sessions. It is a regular sessions, but first few days it is allowed to you to attend, to judge by yourself how much content we are going to cover, what are the topics we are going to cover, and you are also getting the feedback mail. Yes, so in the first day, from first day itself we are starting the session, but we are allowing you people few days to attend the session so that you can know what are the topics or the content we are going to discuss through this course. So today is our third day, so maximum I think today or maximum tomorrow it will be allowed. After that the new password will be set, so who made the payment, they will be accessing the sessions. Okay, understood, Prasad? Because you, I think you asked, and one more our friend, I think she joined today, so she was asking today is the WIS session, means how many days are completed already. So this course was started on the Monday 8th. So till now we have did not discuss much. On the first day I told you what are the topics we are going to cover. First day we discussed that. Yes, like I have shown you, these are the topics which we are going to cover in this uh, approximately 30 to 35 days. So we discussed that what is the main thing about the Linux. So Linux is what I we discussed on the first day. It is an which type of OS? Linux is an OS. So this course is about Linux administration. Administrator means what? We need to manage our network. So to manage our network as an administrator, you will be using what? Server OS or client OS. If it is Windows, server OS. So same way in Linux also, we will be using the server operating system to manage. So if your companies are working on the servers and you need to manage your network, then you need to work like a Linux administrator. So this course will help you. This course will help you to work like a system administrator. In system administrator, we mostly works on two operating system, Windows and Linux. So this course is about the Linux administration. So with this course, once you are done this course, you will be eligible to work like a Linux system administrator. So in this, I told you what are the things we are going to cover on the first day. So just I'll give you just the topics which we are going to cover. I told you. So this course is divided into two parts: standalone administration, network. So in the standalone administration, we will discuss the installation. Still we didn't do the installation, basic commands. Then the managing the hard disk, booting process, which is very important. Then how to create users, like day to day our routine work, every day how we have to do our work as an administrator. That will be discussing all these topics: how to create users, group, how we can apply the permission, managing our resources, and how to monitor our resources by process management. Then how we can install the application in Windows.exe. In Red Hat it is .rpm. So to install the application .rpm, we have two tools, rpm yum. How to manage, how to add our hard disk, or how we can combine the multiple hard disk, that will be discussed in LVM. And how we can protect the data loss even if the hard disk get failed. For that we need to configure the RAID level. Then our job is never completed unless until we need to make sure company data is never lost. For that we'll be taking the backup, and we can also schedule our job by using the cron tab. Then the second part is network administrator, where we will be discussing how to configure ourselves as a servers for the company which are required in the network, like how we can set the line how we can set our system name, how we can allocate our host name, yes, IP address. Then to allow the Windows user to access the Linux servers, we have telnet service, but which is not secure. Then we have some services which are very secure to remote login like SSH, and how to copy the data from one machine to another, SCP, FTP server, MNFS, Samba, which are used for sharing the data, DNS for name resolution, Apache Web Server for hosting the website, NIS for centralized network user creation, DHCP, which will allocate the IP to the client dynamically, automatically. So these are the total content I told you on the first day, giving the brief description what we are going to cover. Then yesterday we discussed about the what are the things we discussed yesterday? The structure of the Linux. So most of the clients prefer to use Windows because it is easy to operate. But we are discussing this from first day onwards. That is from Monday. Most of the company servers now today working on which operating system? You can search and you can check from any source. Most of the servers in the world today are working on which operating system? Yes? Anybody? Because I'm telling you this from first day itself. Most of the servers in the world, they are working on which operating system? Can you just write if you knows in the chat box? Yes, Debis is ready. I think you were there yesterday. Yes, Prasad. So I told you most of the servers in the world are working on which operating system? Can you just write in the chat box your answer? I'm waiting for your reply or answer. I didn't receive anything till now. Yes, you know or you don't know? Most of the servers, production servers in the companies, in most of the companies, they are working on which operating system? No, it is not Windows. It is a Linux. It is not Prasad. It is not. I told you, most of the company servers, yes, most of the company servers, if you compare all over the world, most of the client prefer to use Windows because it is easy to operate. But most of the servers in the world, they are working on the Linux. Why? We discussed yesterday. So I'll just give the brief idea what we discussed yesterday. So why most of the servers in the world are working on Linux? Any reason? Specific reason? Yesterday I told you. Yes, the specific reason why Linux servers are being preferred compared to the Windows is that security. In Linux, we have very good security at the structure wise and at the OS layer wise. I told you. So if you take a Windows operating system, every operating system will consist of what? If you take any operating system, yesterday we defined what is meant by operating system. Yes, how do you define an operating system? Operating system means what? Operating system is a collection of program. That collection of program is used like an interface between the user and the machine. Suppose you have purchased a brand new machine. You have purchased a brand new machine. Can you use that machine without OS? We can't use. Why? Because machine understand only binary language. As a human being, we understand human language or high level language. So we cannot communicate. So we need one interface. That interface is what? Operating system. So every operating system consists of what? Collection of programs. So if you see the Windows operating system, the Windows operating system is designed by the Microsoft company under the Bill Gates. So the Windows operating system collection of program is called as what? Windows program is called the main operating system of the operating system main program is called as kernel. So in Windows also kernel will be there. But what is the difference between the Windows OS and Linux OS? Yesterday I told you it is in the structure. So in the Linux operating system is divided into The complete operating system of Linux operating system is divided into two parts. That is the shell and the kernel. So who designed the Linux OS? I told you on the first day. Linux operating system is been designed using Unix, and the Linux kernel, which is the main part of the Linux operating system, is designed by the Linus Torvald. What is the name of that person? Linus Torvald. So what is the main thing which separate the Linux from other operating system? What is the main difference between Linux and other OS? Linux is called open source operating system. Linux is called what? Open source operating system. Open source means the source code of the Linux kernel, which is been designed by the Linus Torvald. It has been kept on the internet, which is completely free, and anybody can access that source code. We can not only access the source code, but also can modify the source code. So that's why in Linux we have so many flavors. In Linux we have so many flavors. Yes. So the Linux operating system, complete operating system, is divided into two layers, which is the shell and the kernel. Whereas the Windows operating system consists of only kernel that you cannot see. But here this source code we can see and we can modify, which cannot be done in other OS. So that's why we have so many flavors. Like I told you, some of the flavors name Ubuntu, Kali Linux, SUSE, Debian, Red Hat, this CentOS. These are the some of the flavors. So can we learn all the flavors? No, it is not possible humanly. So if you know one flavor, you can work on other flavor. If you know one flavor, you can work on other flavor. So we discussed that. The example, like if you know the car driving from one particular brand like Maruti, can you drive the Tata Sumo? Yes. It will take maybe to get adjusted few hours to understand the extra things which might be there in the Tata Sumo features. So same way, if you clear about or you know how to work on one flavor, you can work on Linux any other flavor, because the structure, architecture, everything will be same. Only some time the administrative commands might be different. So that you can just Google it, equivalent command, you will get it, and you can immediately work. So this is what we discussed yesterday. So yesterday I told you most of the servers in Linux are working on the Linux operating system, because Linux OS is more secure than Windows. So we took this example. Suppose if any virus file is there in Windows, any file will come with what? Executable permission, and that can be run. But here the first layer is what? The shell. So I told you yesterday these nodes. So shell is the interface between Linux kernel and the user. So this shell has been designed using C language. So what it will do, it is a command checker. So if any unknown command is there, if any unknown command is there, unrecognized command is there, it will not run. In Windows, it will run. So it is that security layer which is there in the Linux. So that's why our production server, which might be working as a database server or application server, they all will be configured mostly on Linux. So yesterday we discussed kernel is the main part of the operating system, something like a brain. So it will directly communicate with the machine. So when we, as a user, when we give the command input, we will be giving in high level. Machine does not understand high level. So who will convert it? Kernel will convert high level language to low level language. That is binary when input is given, and it will take out the work just like a brain take out the work from our body, different parts of the body, which act or which function should do by which particular organ will be decided, controlled and managed by our brain in our case. So same way in the operating system, kernel will take out the work from the machine, which consists of hardware and software. So the kernel will control and manage whatever activities the user is looking at trying to do, which particular part of the hardware and software should do which work. It will be decided and controlled and managed by kernel. So in every operating system, kernel will be there, but in Linux, along with the kernel, we have a shell. So that shell will act like a security. So here I told you the kernel will do what? controlling and managing, but shell is a security layer. So any unknown commands, any unknown programs, it will not allow to run, which is not there in the Windows. So that's why Windows is susceptible to the virus. And today we'll see the structure of the Linux OS. Apart from this security, the Linux structure is more secure. Yesterday we discussed Windows identify the files with what? Extension. For text file.txt, for executable file.exe, for database file.dat, for media file.mp3, for batch file this. But in Linux, extension is not there. So in Linux, this all we have done yesterday. So I'm just giving you the overview. In Linux, the files are identified with the type of file. Like here, files are identified with the character or with the alphabet or with the symbols. Like for text file, the symbol will be what? Hyphen. For hidden file, dot. For block file, B. For link file, L. For directory, first letter will be D. For pipe symbol or pipe file, P. For a special character file, C. So here we use alphabets or character to identify. And the permission will be there in Linux. Whenever anybody creates a file, the file will be created without execute permission whenever file is created. So those files will not have execute permission. So no, it will be not run unless until you give the permission. So as I told you, Linux is the foundation for doing any courses like AWS, DevOps, VMware, Oracle database, or Hadoop, or SAP. Okay, so now today, before we go to the installation, we will see today the structure of the Linux OS. So if you want to understand or learn about the Linux operating system, you should first know the structure of the Linux OS. So that can be discussed under the topic called FHS. FHS means File System Hierarchy Standard. Through this, we will get an idea where exactly what data will be stored in Linux. So I gave you the structure of the Windows yesterday. Today we'll discuss about the structure of the Linux. Okay, so let me just revise it one more time. The Windows structure. Then we'll go to the Linux structure. Then you will understand easily. So suppose if you install the Windows OS, already I done this yesterday, I'll just revise it. Then after that we'll go to the Linux OS. So this is the machine. Suppose in this machine I install the Windows OS. So how the Windows OS structure will be there? So Windows OS will get installed on the C drive. Now this is my C drive. So Windows OS will get installed where? On the C drive. So the complete Windows OS will be there on a single drive. So the C drive consists of many folders. Out of that, we are discussing the important folders. So important folder is Windows, which contain the complete Windows operating system detail in the form of subfolders like system files will be there in system32. The log files will be there in log folder. The drivers will be there in the driver folder. So these are the subfolders under the Windows folder, which is under the C drive. Then like here, system32, log file, drivers, temporary file. So this will be the subfolders in the Windows folder. So Windows folder contain the details related with the Windows operating system. Then you have another folder called program file, which contain all installed application. So whenever we installed any application, where it will get installed in Windows in the program file. So same way, all the users data will be stored now in Windows, where for that there is a separate folder with a name called users. So in that users folder, you have a separate folder for the administrator with the name called administrator. So here administrator account name will be there. So when the administrator create any files or folder, the administrator created data will be stored where? In administrator folder. Administrator data will be stored, and rest of the all users data will be stored in the folders. So suppose I have a U1. So in the user folder, one user folder will be created with the username U1. So U1 data will be stored in U1 folder. Then suppose there is a rest of the user U2, U3, like this I have many users. So rest of the users or all other users data will be stored in their respective folder name, which will be created once you create a user. So all users folder and administrator folder will be there in users folder. So for administrator there is a separate folder, and for all rest of the user with their name one folder. For each and every user one folder will be created. For each and every user one folder will be created with their name, and their data will be stored in their folder. U1 data will be there in U1 folder, U2 data in U2 folder, U3 data in U3 folder. So suppose in Windows, what is the advantage? It is easy to operate, but disadvantage, if one of the user folder get corrupted, it will ultimately affect the complete OS because everything is there in a single drive. So this is another disadvantage in Windows structure. Because of that, most of the servers are being used on Linux, because this problem in Linux structure is not there, because Windows OS is installed on a single drive. So yesterday I told you this point, then we stopped the class. In Windows, the OS will get installed on C drive, whereas when we install the Linux OS, in Linux there is no drive later. Here the OS will get installed on the directory, and Windows installation OS is done on a single drive, on single partition, whereas the Linux OS installation will be done on multiple partition. Because of that, if one of the OS folder in Linux get corrupted, it will not affect the complete data. So that is the reason we will use mostly the servers on the Linux. So now we will see the Linux structure. So if you want to understand and operate or work on the Linux operating system, first we should know its structure. So that we will see now. Let me start a structure of the Linux operating system. So before I proceed with this, please tell me, are you following what I'm saying? Are you following, everybody, what I'm saying? Okay, so if I'm going too fast or too slow, you please let me know. Is it okay? This frequency is okay? And if you are not following any point, please tell me, write it in the chat box, so I'll reply you anywhere. Or once the session is ended, you can unmute your mic and you can ask your questions and your doubts. Okay, so shall I proceed now with the structure of the Linux? If you followed up to this, can I proceed? Okay, please reply like this so that it will be good to know each other, and it will be if you interact, it will be very good live session. So I request everybody, whenever you have any doubt or any question, please write it in the chat box, and whenever I'm asking anything, please write your reply on the chat box. Don't unmute your mic. So once you reply, it will look very good. It means that you will be listening to me attentive. Okay, okay, fine. Now we'll discuss the structure. So since last 3 days we are discussing, but we have not done much. We are just trying to know why we should learn about the Linux, why Linux is important, because most of the servers are on Linux. Why? Because of its security and because of its structure. Security wise we discussed yesterday. Today we'll discuss how the Linux structure is more secure, so that our servers are being configured on Linux. So please remember, first difference in Windows, when you install the OS, where the OS will get installed on the C drive, complete OS will be stored on the C drive, but the Linux OS can be installed on multiple partition, which you cannot do on Windows. So what is the advantage of that? If one of the OS folder get corrupted, it will not affect our complete data. So how? That we will see now. So first of all, so this is the machine now. This is the machine. In this machine, you have installed, say, suppose Linux OS. In this, you have installed the Linux operating system. So the Linux operating system will get installed where? In Windows, the Windows OS will get installed where? On the C drive. but the Linux OS will get installed on the directory, and that first directory is called slash. So here the Linux will get installed on the slash, which is called directory. What is the name of the directory? We'll discuss one by one. So here it is a directory. So please remember, in Linux there is no drive letter. Here it is a directory concept is there. Okay. Now under the C drive we have some folders. Just now I have shown you. Under the C drive we have a folders like important folders. So same way inside the slash we will have the subfolders. Here main folder is drive is a collection of directories, whereas a directory will have subdirectories. So now the slash is a directory which contain Linux OS. So slash contain what? So this slash directory contain Linux OS, Linux operating system. Like in Windows, the C drive contain Windows OS. So this slash contain Linux operating system. So this Linux OS, like C drive contain many folders. So same way slash contain many subfolders. So slash contain Linux OS in the form of many subfolders. So what are those subfolders? We will discuss one by one. So one of the subfolder is slash root. These are the subfolders. So before their name, what will be appearing? Slash. Then slash boot, slash yasbin, slash home. So these are the subdirectories under the slash. Slash home, slash boot, slash home, slash bin, slash yasbin. Like this, so many subfolders will be created. Sorry, this is yasbin. This is bin, this is yasbin. Then you have these are all subfolders starting with the name slash. It means it is a part of the slash directory, subdirectories. So like this, many subfolders will be there. So these are the subfolders. So each subfolder contains certain things. What are those certain things? I'll tell you. So if my writing is not clear to you, I'll repeat. So slash is the called directory. Which directory? It is called root directory. It contains Linux OS. It is similar to like C drive in Windows. Under C drive we have many folders. So same way under the slash we have many subfolder. It is not a folder, it is a subfolder like slash root, slash boot, slash home, slash yasbin, slash etc, slash dev, slash usr. We'll discuss in detail all of them. Slash var, like this. So now in Windows, can we allocate a separate partition to this program file or users? No, everything will be there in a single. But in Linux structure, we can allocate one partition to the slash, one separate partition to the slash boot, one separate partition to the slash home. Whichever folder is important to us, based on which type of our server, we can assign the separate partition, which we cannot do in the Windows. So suppose if it is your database server, so where the database will be stored, users database will be stored where? If it is a database server, so all the information will be stored in the where? In the temporary file. So there will be one more folder with the name like temporary file. So now we can allocate one separate partition for the temporary file, where all our temporary data will be stored. Separate partition can be created for database server. If it is your user management server or your server related with the data of the user data server, so we can make a separate partition for slash home. If it is a syslog server, we can make a separate partition for the slash var. So this is what we can do in Linux, which we can't do in Windows. So now first we will discuss what is slash root, what is slash boot, each and everything we'll discuss in detail. So you will understand where exactly what data will be stored in the Linux. So can I proceed? Can I proceed up to this? Are you following? Please tell me, are you following? So that we can start one by one all this. Okay. Okay, thanks for your confirmation. Now we'll discuss with slash. What is slash? So first directory in Linux, as for the Linux installation, slash. So slash contain what? Linux operating system. What it contain? Linux operating system. So it is similar to like C drive. In Windows, it is C drive. Here it is slash. So slash here is called as a directory. So what is the name given to it? It is called as root directory. What it is called? So Linux OS, if somebody asks you where the Linux OS will be stored, means you should say on the slash directory. What is the name of the slash directory? It is called root directory, or it is also called top level directory, where it is present at the structure at the top. That's why it is also called as top level directory or root directory. In Linux, these names are a little bit confusing. If you understand these three things, slash, slash root, and root, if you understand this over, you can understand most of the things in Linux. So that's why I will try to repeat these three things multiple times so that each and everybody of you understand this. Okay, so let me start with the slash. So slash is a main directory in the Linux which contain Linux operating system in the form of subfolder. So the slash is called root directory. So this root directory contain what? Slash contain what? It contain Linux operating system. Slash contain what? Linux operating system. Like it is similar to like C drive. So slash is a directory. What is the name given to it? Root directory. What it contain? Linux operating system. Now you need to understand who is root. Who is root? Can anybody tell me who is root according to you? When we say only root in Linux, what you understand by root? Root means what? Don't unmute your mic. Just you can write your answer in the chat box. Please write it in the chat box. According to you, root is what? No, root is not a OS. Root is not a OS. OS will be installed on the slash directory. I'm asking you, when we say slash, slash is called root directory. Root directory name is different. Root directory name is different and root is different. So that's what I told you. If you understand these three things, means you will understand the Linux. So shall I tell you what is root? Or anybody knows the answer? If you know the answer, please write it. No, Pooja. When I say root directory, you can compare it to the C drive. When I say root directory or slash, then you can compare to the C drive. But when I'm saying only root, it is not C drive. This is what I'm telling you repeatedly. So when we say only root here in Linux, root means it is a user. Which user? You can call this user as a super user or administrator. So what is the name of the administrator in Linux? In Windows, the administrator account is called administrator, but in Linux, the administrator account is called with what name? Root. Root is nothing but it is a super user or administrator user. So what is the name of the administrator in Linux and Unix? If somebody asks, what your answer should be? Yes, tell me. If somebody asks you what is the name of the administrator in Linux and Unix, what your answer will be? Yes, it is a root. Root is different, slash root is different, and slash is different. This is you need to understand. Please remember, you need to understand these three things are entirely three different things. When we say slash, slash is a directory, main directory, that is called root directory. When we say only slash root, when we say only slash root, it is a subdirectory. When I say root, when we say only just root, Root means it is a user. Which user? Administrator. So the name of the administrator in the name of the administrator in Linux and Unix is the name of the administrator in Linux and Unix is root. Are you understanding? Will you remember this? Will you remember this? Please remember this. Okay. So now are you clear about the slash and root? Slash is different, root is different. Now we need to discuss about the, so now root is a administrator name. Can we change that? So administrator account name in Linux is root. You can call this as a super user also, but the name of the administrator in Linux is root. So when we are saying root means it is a administrator name in Linux. That name we cannot change. So I repeat once again, Debasis, whenever we say slash, it means it is a root, it is a directory. Which directory? Root directory, which contain Linux OS. But when we say only root in Linux, so root is nothing but it is a user. Which user? Administrator user. So whenever we say root, it means we are talking about a user. Which user? Administrator user. So what is the name of the administrator account in Windows? What is the name of the administrator account in Windows? Administrator account name in Windows is administrator. So same way, what is the administrator account name in Linux and Unix? What is the name of the administrator account in Linux and Unix? Yes, root. Are you following? I think now some of you have followed. I don't know about everything, but at least few of you are understood. Very nice. So now it is clear, slash and root. Is it clear, slash and root, to everybody? Or shall I need to repeat? If you ask me to repeat, I can repeat. If it is clear, we'll go to the next point. Please tell me if it is clear, we'll go to the next point. If you have doubt, you want me to repeat, I can repeat. Okay, fine. Thank you. I'll continue now. Next point. What is the next point? Now we need to understand about slash root. Now we need to understand about the slash root. Now slash root is called the home directory of root user. Who is root? Who is root? Administrator account in Linux. So the home directory of root user is slash root. So what is slash root? It is the home directory of root user. Administrator account name in Linux is root. So root user home directory is slash root. So whenever you log in as an administrator, where you will log in? Whenever you log in as an administrator, where you log in by default? To the slash root. So slash root is called the home directory of root user. So whenever we log in as a root user, by default we will log into which location? Slash root. So slash root is called the home directory of root user. So what this directory contain? It is a subdirectory. Slash is the main directory. Under the slash there is many subdirectory. One of the subdirectory is slash root. So slash root is a subdirectory. Slash is the main directory, and this is called the subdirectory, which is the part of the slash. Like in Windows, under the C drive we have Windows folder or program folder or user. Similar to that, it is a, here there is only one main folder in Linux installation. Only one main folder, that is slash. Under slash it contains many subfolder. One of the subfolder is slash root. So slash root is a subdirectory. So what it is called? This subdirectory is called what? Home directory of root user. So this slash root contain what? Slash root contain root. Slash root contain root user created files and directory. Slash root contain root user created data. That data can be in the form of files and directories or folders. You can call folder or directories. Now you tell me this slash root you can compare to which folder in Windows. Now I'll show you the structure of the Windows. Now this slash root is similar to which one in Windows. So this is your Windows structure. So now this slash root is similar to which folder in Windows? I put the slide before you. Tell me. I think Akshay, you have given the answer. Very nice. But you should say it is similar to administrator folder. What is the name of the administrator in Windows? So administrator created files and directory where it will be stored in administrator folder under users. So your answer should be under C drive users folder under that administrator folder in Windows. Whereas in Linux, the administrator account name is root. So root created data will be stored where in slash root. So slash root is similar to which folder? Administrator folder under user. Did you understood me, Akshay, and rest of the people? Are you following me now? Okay. What about the rest of the people? Did you understood this now? Did you understood? So slash means our OS will be there, Linux OS, which is called root directory. Under root directory, we have many subdirectory. One of the important subdirectory is slash root. So slash root is called the home directory of which user? Root user. Who is root? Root is a administrator. So administrator created files and directory will be stored where in Linux? When administrator login and create uh, whenever administrator login creates the data where it will be stored in Windows in C drive user folder administrator. Very nice, Pooja. So same way the administrator created data in Linux will be stored where? In slash root. I hope you are clear now, everyone. What about Prasad, Reddy, Devisis? If you are also okay, we'll go to the next point. Are you clear, everyone? Because most of the people are not replying. Yes. Okay, Koti Reddy. Very nice. Like this, if you reply, it will appear good for me as well as you also will be interactive. Okay, fine. Thank you, everybody. Now we will discuss next some folders. Let me start the next one. Now, now here, next folder, subfolder is only Linux operating system contain Linux when we install the Linux OS, where it will get installed? In the slash contain many subfolder. So one of the subfolder is slash root, which contain root user created data will be stored in slash root. Then what is slash home? Slash home is also a subdirectory. It is a part of the slash. This is also a subdirectory. Only one main directory, Linux OS, that is slash, and rest of them subdirectories. So now slash home is what? It is the home directory. It is the home directory of all users. Like in Windows, for each and every user, one folder will be created. So same way in Linux also, whenever we create any users, so for each and every user, one folder will be created with their name. So it is the home directory of all users except administrator. So for administrator, there is a separate folder called slash root. And for rest of the all user, the home directory for rest of the all user is slash home. So slash home contain rest of the users created data. So when suppose I'm the U1, if I created my U1 data, where it will be stored? In slash home. So rest of all users created files and folder, rest of all users created files and folder, where it will be stored? You can say folder or directory, both are same. Folder or directory, both are same. So rest of the users created files and directories, where will be stored? Where it will be stored? Rest of the user created directories, rest of the users created directories, where it will be stored? Tell me. rest of the users created. Suppose I am the U1 and created some files and folder in Linux. Where it will be stored? Where it will be stored in Linux? User created data. Yes, yes, very nice. In /home, you should say /home /username. I am the user one, so my user one. Now in Windows, where it will be stored? Same, in user folder, one separate folder will be created with the name. So in Linux also similar. So I'm the U1 user. So I created some U1 files and folder. So where these U1 folders and files will be stored? So this will be stored in /home /U1. So my created data will be here. In Windows, users created data will be stored where? Exactly same, but C drive, users folder, under that user one data. So this is the similarity. Here /home is the home directory for all the user. For root created data will be stored where? Remember. So root created data will be stored where? In /root, and rest of the users created data will be stored in /home. Are you following? So /home contain all users data. Who is root? Administrator. So administrator created data in Linux will be stored in Linux. Administrator created data will be stored in /root, and rest of the users data will be stored in /home. That's why /home is called the home directory of all users. The home directory of root is /root. The rest of the user home directory is /home. Okay. Okay, fine. Now next important directory. /boot. So in Linux, one of the all important directories are there, but these are the most important directories: /root /home /boot. If you understand this, you will understand the structure of the Linux. And rest of them, they are very simple and easy. So now the /boot, it is a subdirectory. It is not given any separate name. So it is simply called boot directory. /boot is a subdirectory which is simply called boot directory. So the /boot directory or the /boot directory contain, so the most important Linux operating system, the most important part of the Linux operating system is what? Kernel. So where the Linux kernel will be stored? When we install the Linux OS. The Linux OS will be installed on /, but Linux OS consists of, the main part of the Linux operating system is Linux kernel. So the Linux operating system consists of shell and kernel. So the most important part of the Linux operating system is Linux kernel. So where this Linux kernel will be stored? So /boot directory contain Linux kernel. So /boot directory contain what? Linux kernel. Where the kernel will be stored? If somebody asks you in interview, you should say in /boot directory. So /boot directory contain Linux kernel. Along with this Linux kernel, it also contains some other things, like three important things will be present in the /. So /boot contain Linux kernel, bootable files through which it will load the OS, bootable files, and it is also contain grub. What is the full form of the grub? Grub is called as grub full form grand. GR means grand, U means unified, B means bootloader. So you can say grub is nothing but bootloader. What you can call simply bootloader. And if anybody asks you the full form of grub, you should say grand. It is not grand, sorry. It is a grand. I'll write it better. Grand. It is a grand unified bootloader. In simply, you can say bootloader. So the /boot directory contains these three important things. It contains Linux kernel, bootable file, and bootloader. So using these three things, what the function of the boot directory? So whenever you open your desktop machine or the laptop machine, see, I think Akshay, you are not there on the first day. I think you are not there on the first day. So the first day and the second day, we discussed about the shell and the kernel. Now, the kernel is not the compiler. Shell is the compiler. Shell, first layer of the operating system, which is shell, it is a compiler. Shell is the compiler, which will check your command is correct or not. Whereas the kernel is the main part of the Linux operating system. You can just see the my first day or second day recording, you will get the information. But I'm giving you the overview. Kernel is the main part of the Linux operating system. What is the role or work of the kernel? Kernel is something like a brain. What the brain will do for us? It will control and manage all our activities. Our different part of the body will do different work like leg, hand, but everything is under the direction of brain. So same way, whenever we do any work, so which particular work will be done by the machine, but which part of the hardware or which part of the software should do which work, it will be controlled and managed by whom? Kernel. So under the kernel instruction, whenever any command is executed or any task we do as a user, first it will go to the shell. Now the shell will pass this command if it is correct to the kernel. Now the kernel will check this work should be done. It will decide and manage. Like in our body, fraction of second also it will not take. So this part who will do? Suppose I'm walking, I will be walking with the help of my legs. So this will come automatically to us through the brain. So same way, if the user does some task, so that task will be done by machine. But which part of the machine, which part of the hardware or software of that machine should do that work, it will be decided by the kernel. So kernel will take out the work from the machine. So it controls and manages all the tasks with the help of the hardware and the software of the machine. So kernel is the main part of the Linux operating system, which is called core or the brain of the Linux operating system. What is the role or work? It will acts like a brain. So whenever any user, any task we do, so which part of the machine should do what task? So all those activities will be controlled and managed by the kernel. So, so kernel is the interface between the shell and the hardware. So this point yesterday also I covered, today also I just give the overview. Okay. Now what you have to remember is that the Linux kernel, where it will be present if somebody asks, you should say it is present in the /boot directory. So /boot directory contain, apart from kernel, bootable file and bootloader. So using these three things, what the /boot directory will do? Using this /boot directory, what it will do? So suppose I was asking you this question. Suppose you are install the Windows or Linux OS. You just switch on your machine. You just switch on your machine. You just switch on your machine. So did you get immediate login? Login screen will appear to you immediately? No. So what will happen? In the background, some process will be running. What will call that process? What will call that process? Booting process. Very nice, Pooja. Yes. So whenever we switch on the machine, you will not get immediate login. So it will take some time because in the background, the OS will get loaded. That is called booting process. We will be having session. What actually happens? Today you just remember what will happen. The OS has to be loaded. When we install the OS, any OS, where it will be stored? On the secondary storage device, that is hard disk. So when we switch on the machine, the OS has to be loaded on the primary device, primary memory, that is RAM. So in Linux, who will load the OS? The /boot directory will load the OS. So /boot directory contain Linux kernel, bootable file and bootloader. Using this, what it will do? It will do the booting process. Booting means loading of the OS. Booting means what? Loading of the OS operating system from hard disk to RAM. So what is the detail? What actually happens? That we will be discussed in the coming session called booting process. So today you just remember this. So the booting process will be started by the bootloader and it is taken over by the kernel. Then with the help of the bootable file, the kernel will load the OS. So this complete process will take place through the boot directory. So we will make separate partition. Boot is very important, /boot. So we'll make separate partition for /boot when we do the OS installation. So suppose your grub, your /boot directory got corrupted due to any reason, the /boot directory got corrupted. Now then what will happen when you switch on the machine? Suppose my /boot directory got corrupted, and when I switch on the machine, what will happen now? The machine will appear with a black screen. So don't say here it is not appearing black. So just background will be black and you will see on the monitor greater, it will be written like this, grub greater than on the monitor, and you will get only black screen and it will be written grub greater than. So this error is called grub error. What it is called? Grub error. So when this will occur? When your /boot directory is not working. When your /boot directory got corrupted, on the monitor, on the screen, when you switch on the machine, how it will be shown? Grub greater than. So this error is called grub error. So when this is there, when the /boot directory got corrupted, grub error will appear. So it means the OS is there on your hard disk, but it is not able to load the OS. So booting process is not taking place. So will you get the login screen? No. Can you log in with any user? No. So what is the solution for that? The solution for that is you don't have to reinstall the OS. No need to reinstall the OS. You should have the OS bootable DVD or pen drive. Insert it, go to the rescue mode. In Windows, you have safe mode. In Linux, we have similar to that rescue mode. Go to the rescue mode and just install the boot directory. No need of installing the entire OS. So once you install the boot directory, now once the boot folder become okay, now it will do its function. What is the function or role of the boot directory? Using this grub, it will initiate again the booting process and it will be done through the kernel with the help of the bootable file. Now OS will get loaded and you will get the login screen and you can log in. So are you following? Are you following? So these are the main part of the Linux operating system structure. So now time is almost over. Just give me 5 minutes. So I'll just complete the structure, and using this structure, how to install the Linux OS as per our requirement on multiple partition. Tomorrow we will start. So till now we did not do the installation. Till now we are just covering the basics. So now I'll just go through these notes. I hope you will understand it, and tomorrow we will do the installation. So now the structure of the Linux OS. So when we install the Linux OS, where the Linux OS will get installed? On the slash. So slash is called root directory which contain Linux OS. So in the slash there will be many subdirectories like /root. So /root is called the home directory of root user. So who is root? Root is a administrator account in Linux. So root user created data in the form of files and folder will be stored in /root. Then /home is the home directory of rest of the users. So when any user other than the root creates any files and folder, where it will be stored? On the /home. Then the /boot directory contain Linux kernel, bootable file and bootloader. Using that, it will do the booting process. Then there are some other directories or subdirectories like /etc, which will also always contain, when we install any application, one file will be created that is called configuration file. So configuration file always stores in a subfolder called /etc, and the full form of etc is called etc. Then /bin is one of the subfolder which contain a list of commands which can be used by only normal users. So whatever commands the normal user uses like ls, cat, so those commands will be listed in the bin. The full form of bin is binary. Then sbin, full form of sbin is system binary. What is it is called? System binary. So this system binary contain the list of commands which can be used by only one user, that is the root user, like the user add command to create the user, to create the partition fdisk, to take the backup dump command. So this type of commands will be present in sbin. So normal user cannot use the sbin command. So sbin commands can be used by administrator. So whatever commands can administrator used will be present in sbin. So can the administrator use the bin command? Can administrator use the bin command or not? Tell me. All users can use bin command, but not sbin command. Administrator can use sbin command. Yes, very nice, Pooja. So root can use any command, whether it is present in sbin or bin. But rest of the user can use only the commands which are present in bin, but not sbin. When the normal user try to use the sbin command, you will get a message, permission denied. Whereas admin can use any command, whether it is present in bin or sbin. So we don't have to create automatically. Once the OS is installed, Linux OS, these many folders will be created. So we are discussing in each folder what type of data will be stored. So when we do the I didn't get you, Akshay, you have written something. Admin can use bin command. Yes, admin can use any command, whether it is in present in sbin or bin. That is what I'm trying to tell you. Administrator can use any command. Administrator user can use any command, but user can use only bin command. Okay, fine. Then USR. So USR contain what? USR means Unix system resource. What is the full form of USR? Unix system resource. So it contains installed application. Like whenever you install any application, where the application will be stored in Windows, where the application will be stored in Windows. If I install any application in Windows OS, where it will be stored? Yes, it will be stored in the program file. So same way, whenever we install any application, where it will be stored? In the USR. USR full form, Unix. It is Unix system resource. So Unix USR contain install application along with the system files, like our binary files. In Windows, binary files will be there, no system file, system32 binary files. So all those will be also stored. But the main thing is what? Along with the system file, it contain installed application. So if somebody asks, when I install the application, where the program or application will be stored in Linux, so you should say USR. USR contain installed application along with the system files. So the library file. So library files will be stored in Windows in library. So same way, we have a separate folder called /lib. So the files related with the library will be stored in the /lib. Then when we install or download any third-party application and install it, like I need Veritas application or I need some third-party application, I need some third-party applications like Veritas, or I need, say suppose the antivirus. So this type of things, like IBM WebSphere. So if I want to download some third-party application, the application which is not present in my OS. So when we install the Linux OS, many thousands of application will come, but sometime you need to install based on your requirement. Sometime, not always, sometimes some third-party application like the Veritas or the WebSphere or some antivirus. Then where it will be installed? the third-party application will be installed in OPT. Our inbuilt application, when we install, it will be stored in USR. Please remember, when we install our inbuilt application, which we are getting from the OS, if you install that, it will be stored in USR. But your third-party application will be stored in OPT. So like in Windows, temporary files will be there in the Windows folder. Similar to that, in the there is a separate folder under slash with the name /10. So here all the temporary files will be located. So if you want to delete the temporary files, you should go to the cd/tmp. Yes. So whenever we open any application, for that one temporary file will be created. So our all activities, whatever we are doing, for each and every task, one temporary file will be created. So all temporary file will be stored in /tmp. So if you want to remove your temporary file to make your system fast, you can go to this location and remove it. Okay. In Windows, you have to go to the where run command, type it %temporary. There you can delete. Here in Linux, cd/this. Okay. The last one is what? Var contain what? Log files. So this will be very useful for the troubleshooting. So whenever we log in and whatever task we do, for each and every task, the logs will be created. So our logs will be present in Linux, where in the /var. So logs files will be created and it will be stored in the /var. Var full form variable. Variable subfolder contain log files, where the activities, whatever done, their logs will be generated and it will be stored in the /var variable data. And our hardware devices information will be stored in /dev. Suppose if you want to check your hard disk information, so which folder you should go and check? /dev. So /dev contain, like in the you want to check your hard disk. In the hard disk, how many partitions you have created, if any external hard disk is connected or any pen drive is connected, all this information you can check from the /dev. So our hardware devices information we can check with the /dev. And the system name, we have two types of name, logical name and physical name. Physical devices name will be present in /sys, and the logical devices name, like in Windows C drive, D drive, here it will have its own naming convention. Like for the hard disk, SD, SDA. So in that, if you have created some partition 1 or partition 2, in Windows it will appear with the drive letter. Here partitions drive letter is not there, so it will appear like SDA1, SDA2. So that will be accessed with the directory. So logical names we can see with the /dev, and physical names will be visible from the /sys folder. So this is the overall structure of the Linux. So using this overall structure, based on our requirement, we can install the Linux OS on multiple partition, which we cannot do in Windows. So when we install the OS on multiple partition, if one of the OS folder get corrupted, it will not affect the complete data or complete OS, which will happen in Windows. So that's why Linux structure wise also very good and very stable. That is the reason security is good, structure is good. That is the reason most of the company servers are working on Linux. So tomorrow, using this knowledge, we will proceed with the installation. So tomorrow we will proceed with what? Installation of the OS. So Linux OS installation can be done on multiple partition, whereas the Windows OS installation will be done on a single partition. So that is the difference. So what is the disadvantage in Windows? If any one of the OS folder get corrupted, it will affect the complete OS. But here we will install the OS on multiple partition. If one folder get affected, so that will affect only that partition without affecting our data, and complete other rest of the things will remain safe. So that's why in the servers, companies prefer to use Linux server. So how to install the Linux operating system based on our requirement, we will see tomorrow. Okay. So that brings to the end of our today's session. That's it for today. Thank you everybody. And now whatever questions or whatever doubts you have, you can ask me now. You can unmute your mics and one by one you can ask. Yes, if you want to write, you can write, or if you want to ask, you can ask. Yes, yes, anybody. So, did you understood the session? Okay, okay. So if anybody have any questions or query, please ask me. So please, anybody have any questions or any doubt, you please ask me. If you don't have any questions or queries, then can I close the session? Still, we did not started the practical. Since last 2 days, today is the third day. So those who joined first day, you can just see my first 2 days video, which will be uploaded to you once you are given your detail. So you can see that you will not have much problem. Still, if you have any doubt, you can ask me after the session tomorrow. So go through my videos first and second day. So till now, we did not started any practical. We are just on the first day, we focus on what are the topics we are going to cover. Second day, the why Linux is more secure we discuss. Today we discuss the structure. So tomorrow we'll see how to install the OS as per our requirement. It will be sent to you. Uh, it will be sent to you on your mail ID. For that, you need to just contact. Our numbers are given on our website. No, you can contact them, anybody. So they will send you the videos of the previous session as well as today's session. Everyday recording they will send you. And apart from that, if you have any doubt after the session about the fee, it is about like 6,000. So related with the fees detail, you can contact our office. So they will guide you how to pay it. Yes, everything they will guide you. Okay. So do you have anybody have any questions or any doubt, or can I close the session? Okay, so can I close the session? Okay, I'm closing the session. Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow. Okay, I'm closing the session. So tomorrow we'll see how to install this OS as per our requirement. Okay, fine. I'll request you, you first go through the first 2 days video. If any doubt is there, I'll arrange or we will have a class, because I think you will not get much doubt because we didn't discuss many things. Just overall view we have discussed. First day, what are the topic we are going to cover. Second day, why Linux is secure. That is what we have discussed till now. Still, if you have any doubt after the class, or if you want another session, we can have. Okay. Okay, fine. Is there anybody any doubt, or can I close the session? Okay, so please contact our front office. We have our numbers on our website. Contact them. They will guide you. Okay, they'll give you also the first 2 days video. You can go through it. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow. I'm closing the session.